He made so many freaking plays in this game that I want to lay that out just so people understand and have the context of kind of what really happened. But the trade-off you get for him is worth it. Let's just state something that you probably already know, but it's something that maybe I can shed a little more light on in terms of depth.
Number 1.
The Commanders' offensive line missed Tyler Biadasz terribly yesterday. Yes, it is that important that I am making it number 1. However, it is not because they gave up 8 sacks. Absolutely hilariously. This is too stupid to make up. I could not possibly do this as some contrarian thing. It is too trollish. You never believe me, and that is not how I do this job. The 8 sacks are mostly not on the O-line. I'm literally going to run through all 8 of them in this segment in 1st and 10. But that's going to be in the Jayden Daniels section because a lot of the sacks are actually on Jayden. However, there's about 4, 5, maybe like 8 or 9 even plays that easily could have been sacks that Jayden also saved the offensive line's butt. So in a way, the offensive line did kind of have an 8 sack type of performance. Maybe not 8, like let's say 5 or 6 sack type of performance. It just didn't happen to be the ones where the Saints actually got sacks. Where the Commanders really missed Tyler Biadasz, or when the Commanders' offensive line really played poorly yesterday, though, was in the run game. That was horrendous. That was probably their worst performance of the season, where they just got their butts handed to them in the line of scrimmage. There's like stunts and things that they just could not handle on the right side. And I know you're probably like, yeah, Andrew Wiley. I told you should have started Cornelius Lucas. Andrew Wiley was fine yesterday. He had a couple of misses. I'm not telling you he was perfect, but he had a normal amount of stuff. Sam Cosmi yesterday had his worst game of the season. I don't know what happened to him yesterday. And, you know, someone commented on YouTube on our instant reaction show from Take Command, maybe there's a bug going around the offensive line room, and it's whatever Biadasz got that held him out. Maybe everyone else is sick and not feeling well. And that would make me feel a lot better moving forward, because then at least I know what happened to them yesterday. That was weird. It was like someone took Sam Cosmi's powers, Space Jam style. And by the way, the rushing numbers, as bad as they were for the running backs, obviously they look a little bit better because Jayden had some big scrambles. The biggest run play of the game for Brian Robinson was a pass that happened to be a lateral, and it counts as a 20-yard run. Imagine how much worse it would be. B-Rob would have been under 3 yards a carry had that not happened. And so I think that should inform the rest of our discussions today, including the inevitable calls for how bad Cliff Kingsbury was yesterday. I didn't love the 3rd and 1 call down at the goal line, although that's been one of their best plays down there. I think there's some personnel issues, which we'll get to. But all in all, I think Cliff was actually pretty fine yesterday. If Jayden hits 1 or 2 of those shots to Terry, if a couple of other things happen that are beyond Cliff's control, you're fine. And I don't think they actually needed to run the ball more, even though I thought that in the immediate aftermath after watching 3 quarters worth of the tape, because they were so freaking bad at it. And it was they lost physically, mental mistakes, missed assignments, mistargeted. Dieter was not very good, and it's a tough spot, right? It's not like Dieter was the replacement all week and he practiced and he just didn't show up. This dude was told Sunday morning after not practicing with the starters all week, hey man, Tyler can't go, time to party. And that's a tough spot. You're not going to be as sharp as if you get a full week of practice. There's a reason why the starters get the most reps, and during the season why the backups really don't get a lot of reps, because you got to prep your starter because they're the ones that are going to play. And all of a sudden one of them doesn't play at a position that's that important, and that's kind of the performance that you get.
Number 2.
Okay, the bad of Jayden yesterday first, and then I want to get to the good. Because this game was in many ways a crystallization of why Jayden's pressure to sack ratio, remember that number, the number that we talked about all through the process? Like, man, is he going to take a lot of sacks? Is this a problem? I don't know. He was really kind of great at running. He ran for 1,000 yards at LSU last year. Like, how do we square all this? I think you see yesterday why that number was so high and an area for potential improvement for Jayden Daniels. As I mentioned, a lot of the sacks are not actually on the offensive line, even if the offensive line overall did not play that well. So let's run through them real quick. I charted all of them. 1st and 10, it's like the first play of the game. 14-50, actually, sorry. No, the first play of the second quarter. B-Rob It like flares out. It looks like he's trying to, like, it's almost like a quasi screen. It's a weird pass protection. But like Jayden has time, and he looks at B-Rob and he doesn't throw it. And he looks at some other stuff and he doesn't throw it. You're just like, hey man, throw the ball. If he can get back, if he like has the wheel click, they're like, hey, all these defenders, there's too many defenders over here. He had faked a reverse to Olamide Zaccheaus, who is wide open in the flat to his backside, to his left. Never comes back to it. Instead, he tucks it. That sack's on Jayden. Second sack, 3rd and 16. Jayden steps up in a perfectly fine pocket. Coleman gives up some pressure, but Jayden kind of runs into the sack. If you want to put that one on Coleman, that's fine with me. I'd also say Jayden deserves half a sack there. 1st and 10, 11:25 to go in the second quarter. Play action boot, no one's open. That's a coverage sack. 1st and 10, 2 minutes to go. Our first play out of the 2 minute. Jayden vacates a clean pocket, covered well. He doesn't need to go when he goes. Like, find a check down, find something, find a way to throw the ball away, especially in a 2 minute. Hey, just throw it over someone's head. Don't run. Don't take a sack. It's bad for the clock. And so instead, he does, and voila. So for the first 4, we have Jayden / Coleman, coverage, Jayden / coverage. Get into the very next play, 3rd and 10. They're sitting in empty. Blitz gets home. It's kind of on Jayden. It's kind of credit to the defense. Jayden should have seen the blitzer coming. He could have gotten the ball out early if he did, and at the very least avoid the sack. Next sack, I'm going to put on the play call. That's the 3rd and 1 at the goal line. Jayden Daniels has no shot on that one. I thought the play had no shot. That's one where Luke McCaffrey's got to do a way better job chipping Cam Jordan, but also I'm talking about Luke McCaffrey chipping Cam Jordan. How'd you think that one was going to go? 2nd and 14, 1 minute 22 to go in the third quarter. He's staring right at Olamide Zaccheaus on a choice route. Choice route, slant, something. Oh, he's staring right at him. He wins. He's wide open. He doesn't throw it. Then he moves poorly in the pocket where Brandon Coleman has given up a little bit of pressure but has mostly washed Chase Young out. And instead, Jayden steps right back into Chase. And he needs to learn how to vacate the pocket in more effective ways. That one's on Jayden. And then on a 3rd and 4 with 9:04 to go in the game, Wiley takes pressure. There's pretty good coverage down the field. Jayden probably could get the ball out to a check down, but doesn't. And also, it shouldn't have mattered because Olamide Zaccheaus was tackled in the middle of his route, and it should have been an illegal contact down the field. So that one, if you want to put that one and the second sack on the offensive line, one on Wiley, one on Coleman, I'm fine with that. That's still 6 sacks that are on the quarterback or the coverage. So the problem is, again, for the O-line, that there's other stuff. But I think these sacks are indicative of when Jayden gets in trouble is when he is not decisive enough vacating the pocket or vacates it in a way that actually invites pressure instead of escaping it. And often that is when he is actually protected, and he's just got to learn, hey, the clock's going off in my head, but I'm fine right now. Can I find something down the field? Or no, where is my check down? It's time. Let me just get the ball to the check down. But here's the thing.
Number 3.
He made so many freaking plays in this game that I want to lay that out just so people understand and have the context of kind of what really happened. But the trade-off you get for him is worth it. No quarterback is perfect. No quarterback always makes the right decision, always vacates the pocket the right way, at the right time, optimal results. It's football. It's professional football. It is really, really, really hard. And yet, Jayden has 20-plus yard scrambles in this game. Jayden has plays that he makes on the run. Jayden barely misses Terry McLaurin multiple times for multiple touchdowns that are good reads. The first touchdown that he throws to Terry McLaurin is an absolute magic play. That is silly. There is nothing doing on that play. And he runs kind of into some pressure, not in a bad way. It's just like dudes were chasing him. He somehow avoids it, steps up, and just slings a ball that Terry McLaurin comes down and gets. Like, that's insane. That's number 2 pick stuff. That's all pro quarterback stuff. And he does enough of that stuff that, especially while he's a young player, and he's figuring out all the other things that you can criticize, critique, and say, hey, these are areas that are opportunities for growth. He does enough stuff right now to help you win football games left, right, and sideways. Like, it is remarkable the amount of plays he generated in this game. the consistency on some of the quick game stuff, how he's able to get the ball out in the right spot, in the right timing. And so was this Jayden's best game as a pro? Not even close. Was this a good game from Jayden? Actually, I think, yeah. Like overall, I would say this is like a 6.5 out of 10 game. So more good than bad. And I might even go 7 out of 10. And if you can just hit some of the layups, some of the easy wins, some of the checkdowns, some of the quick games, some of the stuff that he missed, that he's been kind of robotically good at in other areas of the season, they're going to be just fine against better teams. Now, there's other stuff that needs to be cleaned up, and there's other things that need to be talked about. We'll get to all of that next on the back half of First and 10. It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980, and always live on the free Odyssey app.